Good morning, students. Welcome to 8th Standard Social Science, Geography, 8th Unit, Map Reading. So, children, listen carefully to this session. In case of any doubts, make a note of it, which shall be clarified on the day of reopening. So, now let's enter into today's topic. So, today we are going to see about Geography 8th Unit, Map Reading. So, map and globe are the important tools for geographers. So, both the map as well as globe is very important for a geographer to locate a particular place and also to locate the direction of the particular place. And then, maps help geographers to compare places and relate people's activities to the locations where they live. So, the map helps to compare places means it helps to compare the distance from one place to another and also to find out the people's activity according to their location. And then, cartographers use various methods to make maps as precise as possible. So, cartographers are the person who design map. So, cartographers are the person who design the map. So, they use various techniques or various methods to make maps as precise. So, precise means short and understandable as possible. And also, they design maps in a way that they can be read and understood by people throughout the world. So, they design the maps in a way that they can be read and understood by the people throughout the world. So, the people can read the map and they can understand it easily. So, now let's see what is a map. So, now let's see the definition for a map. So far we have seen that maps as well as globe, it helps to locate a place or else to find out the direction of a particular place. And also the cartographers. So cartographers are the person who design the map. So they design it in a understandable way. So now let's see the definition for a map. So a map is a visual representation of an entire or a part of an area typically represented on a flat surface. So a map is a visual representation of the entire part or else a separate part of an area and they are represented on a flat surface. And also, the work of a map is to illustrate specific and detailed features of a particular area, most frequently used to illustrate geography. So, the main work of a map is to provide details about the features of a particular area. For example, water resources features or soil feature or climatic feature. So, it is the main work of a map. So, from the map, we can get the direction as well as the soil nature. For example, soil map. So, maps provide a detailed features of a particular area. So now let's see the definition for map reading. Map reading is an act of interpreting or understanding the geographic information portrayed on a map. So map reading means understanding the geographical signs which are portrayed on the map. So understanding the map is called map reading. And also, by map reading, the reader could be able to develop a mental map of the real world information by processing the symbolized information shown on maps. So, by the map reading, we can get a mental picture of a particular place by the signs provided in the map. So, by map reading, we can get a virtual picture of a particular place by the signs or the symbols provided on the map. So now let's see what is the difference between a map and a globe. So what is the major difference between a map and a globe? So one is everyone know map is very easy to carry. So wherever you go you can carry a map. Whereas globe is not that much flexible. So that is a major difference. Now let's see some other differences. Map gives a two-dimensional representation of a certain regions or the entire world. So map gives the 2D picture. So maps gives a two-dimensional representation of certain regions or the entire world. Whereas the globe, so the globe gives the 3D picture. So the globe gives the three-dimensional representation of the entire world, and it is the miniature form of the earth. So it is the model of the earth. So children, I hope you are clear with the difference between a map and a globe. So a map is portable. It is easy to carry, whereas globe is not portable. And also the map gives more details, whereas we can get less details from a globe. And also a map is a two-dimensional image, whereas a globe is a three-dimensional model. So it is a model of the earth. So now let's see the study and practice of many phases of maps, and map making is called cartography. So cartography means study of maps. So cartography means study of maps, as well as map making is called cartography, and those who design the map is called cartographers. So it can be described as an art and science of map making. So cartography is the art and science of map making. So make a note of it. So now let's see the components of a map. So whenever you see a map, you can notice all these components. So the first one is title. So every map has a title. So the first component is title. Second one is scale. Third one is legend or key. Fourth one is direction. So these are all the main components of a map. So these are all the main details present on a map. And also fifth one is the source. So you can know about the source of the map. And also the map projection and locational information and conventional signs and symbols. So these are all the main components or the main details present on a map. So let's see it one by one. So first one is title. So every map has a title. For example, if you go and buy a map in a shop, you will ask India physical map or India outline map or India river map. So this is the title for a map. So let's see the definition. Titles tells about the content of the map and is placed mostly at the top corner or at the bottom corner of the map. So title tells about the content. For example, as I said, if you go to a shop, if you ask for India river map, means it shows the rivers, the source and destination of the river. So the titles tells about the content of the map. So the title tells what a map shows. A map's title gives us our first clue about its content. It usually describes the area shown on the map. It also identifies the map's main topic. The second component on a map is scale. So let's see the definition for scale. The scale is the ratio between the actual distance on the ground and the distance shown on the map. So you would have noticed on the map. So this is the scale. So scale is the ratio between the actual distance on the land to the distance on the map. So why it is designed as that means, generally the cartographers, that is the person who designed the graph, they cannot draw the maps the same size of the land. So they cannot draw the map based on the same size of the land. So they are representing it on a scale. So for this purpose, maps are drawn to scale, and also each map has its own scale which is indicated on the map. So often the scale is shown with a scale bar or a line, or a number is placed just below the title or somewhere at the bottom of the map. So this is the scale bar you would have noticed on the map, which will be below or the bottom of the map. So This is one example scale. So if you noticed 1 inch equal to 24,000 inches. So 1 inch equal to 24,000 inches means 2,000 feet. So if you notice this kind of scale means 1 inch on the map is equal to 20,000 feet on the land. So 1 inch on the map is equal to 20,000 feet on the ground or the land. So the map scale is classified into two types. So map scale is classified into two types. One is small scale, other one is large scale. So let's see the definition for small scale maps. So why the small scale maps are used means it is used to represent large areas. Small scale maps can show only major features, omitting the minor ones due to lack of space. So small scale maps, it shows only the major features. For example, the world map. So the world map is a small scale map. So it gives only the major features like the continents and major countries. Whereas large scale maps provides more information than the small scale maps. So it provides more details. For example, the district map or the taluk map or the state map, it provides more details than the small scale maps. So a large scale map covers only a small area, but it shows a lot of details from that area. So it shows lot of details in a particular area. So now let's see the difference between a large scale map as well as a small scale map. A large scale map, it shows a lot of detail. So it shows more information of a particular area. For example, a particular street or a particular park. Whereas a small scale maps provides less details and may show large features like highway or a continents. So this is the difference between the large scale and small scale. So this is an example of a small scale map. So this is an example of small scale map because it provides a less detail. Whereas this is an example of large scale map because it is focusing on one particular state. It is focusing on one particular state and it is providing more details. So now let's see the scales on maps can be represented in three different ways. So how the scales can be represented on a map. So let's see the three different ways. First one is statement or verbal scale. First one is statement or verbal scale. Second one is representative fraction, that is RF or ratio scale. Second one is representative fraction or ratio scale. Third one is graphical or bar scale. So third one is graphical or bar scale. So these are all the three different ways in which the scales are represented on a map. So let's see it one by one. First one is statement or verbal scale. So from the name itself we can say statement or verbal means the scale is represented in words. So let's see the definition. In this method, the map scale is stated in words. For example, 1 centimeter to 1 kilometer. So the map scale is stated in words. So let's see it. 1 inch equals 1 miles. So it is represented in words. So this is called statement or verbal scale. So if the numerator is in centimeter means the denominator is either in meters or kilometers. So children, if 1 centimeter, if the numerator is centimeter means the denominator can be either meter or kilometer. And second one is if the numerator is an inch, the denominator is in miles. So if the numerator is an inch means the denominator will be miles. So I hope you are clear. So this is statement or verbal scale where the scale is represented in the words. So 1 inch on the map is equal to 28.5 miles on the ground. So this is called scale. 1 inch on the map is equal to 28.5 miles on the ground. Similarly, 1 centimeter on the map is equal to 18 kilometer on the ground. So next one is representative fraction or numerical fraction or ratio scale. So now let's see the definition for RF, that is representative fraction or numerical fraction or ratio scale. It shows the relationship between the map distance and the corresponding ground distance in the same units of length, that is RF, is generally shown as a fraction. So in this method, the scale is represented as a fraction, not in words. So that is called RF, that is representative fraction. So for example, the length of the object in the drawing, that is on the map, to the actual length of that object, that is actual length on the ground. So representative fraction is defined as the ratio of the length of an element of the object in the drawing, that is of the map, to the corresponding actual length of the corresponding element of the object itself. So RF means the ratio between the distance on the map to the distance on the ground. For example, 1 is to 50,000 means 1 centimeter or 1 inch on the map is equal to 50,000 centimeter or 50,000 inch on the ground. So I hope you are clear. Verbal means the scale is represented in words, whereas RF in fraction. RF means the scale is represented in fraction. The third type of scale representation is graphical or bar scale or linear scale. So this is the third type of representation, that is called graphical or bar scale or linear scale. A graphic scale looks like a small ruler drawn at the bottom of the page. This line is divided and subdivided into lengths, each of which represents a certain distance on the ground. So it is like a graph. So a graphical scale is like a graph. It is drawn like a graph. So the three types of representation is verbal scale, graphical scale, fractional scale, that is the RF. So verbal scale means the scale is written in the statement. For example, 1 centimeter is equal to 1 kilometer. So like that the scale will be written. Next one is graphical scale, a line that represents a certain distance. So they will draw a graph. So like this, similarly like this. Next one is fractional scale. It is represented in the form of ratio 1:2 or 1/25. So I hope you are clear. So children, whenever you buy a map, have a look at this scale which is represented at the bottom of the map. So have a look at it. So now let's move on to the component, next component on the map, that is legend or key. So the next component is legend or key. So a map key or legend is included in a map to unlock it. It gives you the information needed for the map to make sense. So legend or key is the information which is provided in the form of symbols. For example, if you notice, H means hospital. For example, this kind of symbol means restroom. This aeroplane symbol means airport. So it provides some information. And also, maps often use symbols or colors to represent things, and the map key explains what they mean. So the map often use symbols or colors to represent the things. For example, mountain areas means the map must be shaded in a brown color. And also, symbols is the key, might be pictures or icons that represent different things on the map. So symbols can be a picture or a icon. For example, H means hospital. Aeroplane symbol means airport. So like that it can be a picture or a icon. So these are some examples of legend or key. So have a look at it, children. Bus means bus station. So if you notice, this kind of symbol on a map means town area. This means main objective. So I hope you are clear with legend or key. So it provides certain information. So now let's move on to the next main component on a map, that is direction. A map must indicate direction. This is done by the means of an arrow pointing to the north. So a map must indicate the direction. So every map will indicate a direction. So if you buy a map, kindly make a note of it. A map will indicate a direction mostly pointing towards the north. Once the north is located, it is easy to find the rest of the direction. Once you locate the north direction, we can easily find the rest of the direction. So north, east, south, west. So this intermediate direction is called northwest. So this is northeast. So this part is southeast and this is southwest. So even you can find the intermediary directions also. So first thing is we have to locate the north. Directions on a map are often given with a symbol called compass rose, which actually shows north. So this direction representation is called compass rose. It always shows the north and it is usually found on the map. And next one is source. So the next main component is source. Source means from where we get an information. Source means from where we get or the starting point. So let's see the definition. All maps must show the source of the data used in the respective maps. The source should normally be given outside the frame of the map on the bottom right. So the source must be given outside the frame of the map in the bottom right. For example, this map is from the GIS for Educator. So this map is collected from GIS for Educator. So source means from where we get the map or from where we get the information. On the bottom left, the name of the author. So here on the bottom left, we can get to know about the name of the author of the map, the publisher name, the place of publication, as well as the year of publication. So on the bottom right, we can get the source name. On the bottom left, we can get the name of the author, the publisher name, the date of publication, as well as the place of publication. So children, whenever you buy a map, please make a glance at the map to find out the source. And next one is map projection and locational information. So next one is map projection and locational information. A map projection is a way of representing the spherical earth on a flat surface of a map. So map projection means it is a way of representation of the spherical earth on a flat surface. So way of representation of the place on a flat surface is called map projection. And also the latitudes, that is the horizontal line, that is the latitudes and the longitudes marked on the maps gives the locational information of the area covered in the respective maps. So with the help of the imaginary lines like latitude and longitude, we can get to know about the perfect location of a particular place. Next one is conventional signs and symbol. So the next component on the map is signs and symbols. Conventional signs are symbols used in maps to represent different features. The symbols are explained in the key of the map. So now let's see some conventional signs and symbols. For example, if you see such sign on the map means it is battlefield. So this sign represents bus station. So this is bridge. This one is campsite. This is contour lines, footpath, lighthouse in use, heliport, information center, main road, motorway junction, railway line, public house, public telephone, radio or TV mast, power line, secondary road, viewpoint, windmill and parking. So these are all these signs which are used to represent or which are used to give certain information on the map. With the use of these symbols, maps can be drawn easily and the concept of the map can be understood well. So with these kind of symbols, we can understand the concept of the map. And also, there is an international agreement regarding the use of certain symbols. So also there is an agreement for usage of certain symbols. So these symbols fall under these categories are called conventional symbols. So these symbols are called conventional symbols. Other category is called contextual symbols, which are decided by the cartographers. So the symbols which are internationally accepted is called conventional symbols. Another category of symbols are called contextual symbols. I hope you are clear. Internationally or worldwide accepted symbols are called conventional symbols, whereas other category of symbols which we are used for our own representation is called contextual symbols. So now let's move on to the different types of maps. So let's see about the different types of maps. First one is relief map. So first one is relief maps. Second one is cadastral maps. Third one is thematic maps. So the three different types of maps are relief maps, cadastral maps and thematic maps. So let's see one example for each and the definition for each. So first one is relief map. So relief map is also called physical map. So the map that shows the physical features of an area is usually called a physical map or a relief map. So the map that shows the physical feature, for example, the mountains, the rivers, the vegetative cover. So these are all the physical features. So those type of maps are called relief or physical map. So their primary purpose is to show the landforms like desert, rivers, mountains, plains, plateaus, etc. And these maps present the overall picture of the local terrain. So we can get to know about the landforms of a particular place. Different levels of altitudes and depth are also shown by these maps. So we can know about the different level of altitude. Altitude means height. Depth. We can know about the depth. Different level means from high to low or from low to height. So generally the sea is colored blue. So generally on the map the sea is colored blue. And shallow water. Shallow water means not that much deep. So it is not deep. So those waters are shown by light blue color. Sea is blue color. Shallow water is light blue color. And also for showing altitude. So altitude means height. The following order is observed from low to high. So altitude, usually altitude, mountains are represented in altitude. So it will start from low to high. That is light green. So starting it will be light green, then light brown, then crimson red, and then finally white for high altitudinal. So finally white for high altitudinal. White represents ice covered places. So I hope you are clear. Even we can represent the altitude or the depth on the map. So those kind of physical feature maps are called relief map or physical map. So now let's see about the cadastral map. So the second type of map is cadastral map. A cadastral map refers to the map that shows the boundaries and ownership of the land within a specified area. So the cadastral map, it shows the boundary and the owner of the particular land. For example, the real estate map. The real estate map is called cadastral map. So these maps are sometimes known as plans. So the cadastral maps are sometimes called plans. So children, cadastral map shows the boundaries and the owner of a particular place. So it is also called plan. So it shows the boundary and the owner of a particular place means it is giving more detail. So it is a large scale map. As they are on large scale, they show full details of the boundaries and even buildings. So it is a large scale map. They are useful for local administration. So why the cadastral map and where the cadastral map is used means they are useful for local administration such as the city survey. If you want to take a survey, this map is very useful. Taxation, management of estates, and to define property in legal documents. Usually these maps are maintained by the government and they are a matter of public record. So they are usually maintained by the government. So now let's see the term cadastral. So the term cadastral is derived from the French word cadastre, meaning register or territorial property. So the term cadastral is derived from the French word cadastre, meaning register. It is a register or a territorial property. So as I said before, real estate map, the map which is provided by the real estate is called plan or cadastral map. So now let's see the importance of cadastral map. So why it is very important. Cadastral surveys documents the boundaries of the land ownership by the production of documents, diagrams, sketches, plans, charts and maps. They were originally used to ensure reliable facts for land valuation and taxation. So cadastral maps are maintained by the government and it provides details about the sketch of a particular place or the plans or the charts and maps and the owner of a particular land, which is very useful during the land valuation and taxation. So now let's see the scale of a cadastral map. So how the scale is represented on a cadastral map. Cadastral maps commonly range from the scales of 1:500 to 1:10,000. So the scale on the cadastral map will be these two values only, 1:500 or 1:10,000. So now let's move on to the third type of map, that is thematic map. So the third type of map is thematic map. So theme, it is based on a particular theme or a particular concept or a particular idea. So let's see the definition. A thematic map is a map that focuses on a specific theme or a subject area such as physical phenomena like temperature variation, rainfall distribution and population density in an area. So thematic map, it focuses on a particular concept. For example, temperature, rainfall or population. So there are different kinds of thematic map. So let's see the types of thematic map. The thematic map is divided into two types. First one is qualitative thematic map and second one is quantitative thematic map. So first one is qualitative, second one is quantitative. So now let's see the qualitative thematic map definition. The qualitative map is in the form of a quality and expresses the presence or absence of the object on the map, like the kind of vegetation present or occupying a region. Map showing the distribution of soil types is also a qualitative map. So, a qualitative thematic maps, it produce a certain quality of a particular place. So it represents a certain quality of a particular place. For example, the soil map. So the soil map is an example for qualitative. So it expresses the quality of the soil of a particular place. The second type is quantitative thematic map. So quantity means the amount. So let's see it. The quantitative map expresses the information of numerical values. So it expresses in the form of numerical values like elevation in meters. Elevation means height. So elevation in meters, temperature in degrees Celsius, etc. So quantitative expressed in the form of numerical values. So now let's see the different types of quantitative maps. So the different types of quantitative map. So first one is chlorophyll mapping. So now let's see the definition. A chlorophyll map is a thematic map in which areas are shaded or patterned in proportion to the measurement of the statistical variable being displayed on the map, such as population density or per capita income. So chlorophyll map is also called shaded map or patterned map. So for example, maroon. So maroon, where the places are shaded in maroon, the population density per square kilometer is greater than 1000. So the population density is greater than 1000. So this is a form of representation. Next one is isoline map. So the second type of quantitative map is isoline map. Isolines are lines drawn to link different places that share a common value. So isolines are the imaginary lines and they are drawn to link the places having the same values. So they are drawn to link the places having the same values. The prefix iso. So iso is a Greek word meaning equal. So iso means equal. So an isoline is a line joining equal points. For example, in Chennai, if the temperature is 29 Celsius and in Hyderabad also 29 Celsius, again in Mumbai also 29 Celsius, you can draw an imaginary line or isoline connecting Chennai, Hyderabad and Mumbai because all three places has the same value, has the same temperature. So this is called isolines. So isobar showing the distribution of atmospheric pressure. So isobar is also isolines only. So isobar represents pressure of a place. Whereas isotherm represents the temperature of the place. Isobar means pressure. Isotherm means distribution of temperature. So isobars are the imaginary lines which connect the places having the same atmospheric pressure. Whereas isotherm are the imaginary line connect the places having the same distribution of temperature. I hope you are clear with isolines. Next type of map is dot density map. So dot means the density of a place is represented in dots. So let's see the definition. A dot density map is a type of thematic map that uses dots on the map to show the values of one or more numeric data fields. So it uses dots to show the values. Each dot on a dot density map represents some amount of data. In a dot density map, areas with many dots indicate high concentration of values for a chosen field and fewer dots indicate lower concentration. So many number of dots indicate high concentration, whereas low number of dots indicates low concentration. So now let's see the uses of maps. So why the map is useful? First one is to find the location of objects and places. So map is very useful to find the location. The second use is to find the transportation routes. So to find the land route, rail route, so map is very useful. The next one is maps showing strategic locations are useful for military. So map is very useful in military service. Next one is it serves as a tourist guide. So map is considered as a tourist guide. To find the spatial distribution of different phenomena, to find the space between one place to another place, map is very useful. Next one is display weather condition. So we can also display the weather condition through maps. Next is highly helpful in learning geography. So, map is very useful to learn geography. And then, represent the real world on a small scale. So, map can represent. So, map is a visual representation of the earth on a flat surface. So, it represents the real world on a small scale. So, children, I hope you are clear with today's session. So, today we have seen about the definition of maps, the different components of a map, as well as the types of map and the uses of map. So, with this video, Geography 8th Unit map reading is completed. So, you can refer your textbook pages. So, today's topic are covered from page number 158 to 165. So, now it's time for questions. So, let's see some evaluation questions. In case of any doubts, you can go through the whole session video once again, or else you can refer your textbook. So, let's see some evaluation questions. First one, the globe is the true representation of the. Second question, a way of representing the spherical earth on a flat surface is called. Third one, a line that joins the points of equal elevation is called. Fourth one, cadastral maps are usually maintained by. And finally, map is focused on a specific theme is called what kind of map? So children, try to answer all these questions in the notebook which you are maintaining for social science. So with this video, map reading lesson is completed. Thank you.